welcome back to the stream. We are back for part 2, and this one is definitely going to be shorter. Definitely going to be a shorter one, because I want to cover 2 things. One, I want to compare Mileenas kit to Rain's kit. Okay, so yeah, I want to compare Mileena's kit to Rain's kit, but I want to compare Mileena's kit with abilities compared to Rain's kit without abilities, just to prove a point, to make a point that Rain's kit with no abilities is better, if not as good, as Mileena's kit with abilities, surprisingly. So I want to do that, but I want to reply back to Pt2, that one guy who left a long comment on my previous video about his thoughts on Mileena's buffs and stuff. And I just thought I would reply back to it in this stream because he made some interesting points. Because I did reply back to majority on my last stream, but I wanted to reply back to some interesting points he made in this one that I agreed with, and some of them that I disagreed with. So I'll spend this stream to do it. So let's get into it. So we'll start with Mileena's kit versus Rain's kit. So let's just say we have Mileena with 3 abilities. The air sigh, which should be a base kit ability. Her air teleport, which could be a base kit ability. And playtime, which should also be a base kit ability, right? So let's just use that as the template and compare it to Rain with no abilities, no variations, right? He has nothing. Okay, what's this? We're going to compare them. Just watch this. Because I was thinking about this the other day as I was practicing with Rain. As to how good he is and how good his base kit is even.
Mileena. Rain. Shang Tsung's Island Ruins.
We'll use this. We'll use this. Okay. Alright, so let's start. So this is all based on the special moves, right? So special moves wise, so Mileena has this is base kit. This is a base kit ability. Size are really good. I like them, right? And then she's got teleport that she could do in the air or on the ground, right? Then she's got playtime, which is this, or extended, it's this, and this. Okay, so without playtime, it will just be that, or it will just be that. Okay, so there's that, and then of course you got ball roll, which you have to amplify to, get the launcher from, right? For example, okay? Cool. So that's all Mileena's moves. That's just like from a base perspective. But Mileena with 3 abilities. This is all she has, right? Oh yeah, and air side. Sometimes you can get all 2 of them. There we go. Look how tricky that was to even do as well. So this is what she gets. Okay. Okay. Now Rain has the following. This is Rain with no abilities. As you can see, there's no ability slot. It's only special moves and finisher, right? So this is Rain with no abilities. He's got Katatos, which is a high, but it also has Katatos when amplified is a mid. So high is 60 damage, 0.60 damage. A mid version of it is amplified is 90 damage at the expense of a bar, which is worth it because you get a bit more damage and it's a mid. So it's a good way to check someone from distance. So if you like throw them, like they have to take that. There's no way around it. They have to take that. Unless they roll and you mistime it or something. But either way, they have to take that mid. So he's got that. And then he has Argus Plunge. Okay. It's good corner carry. I should put on the frames as well, actually. 20 frames, a good corner carry, and when amplified, it does 110 in damage. So, what's that? 70 damage. When amplified, it does 40 more damage, and it has a crushing blow as well. So this has a crushing blow when you armor break. Triggers after traveling a short distance before the attack connects or breaks armor. So that's even fair in itself because it's usually you have to travel a long distance to trigger off an armor break. Sorry, a crushing blow. Usually you have to travel a long distance. Like Gearus's command grab, you got to travel a long distance. Jade's pole vault, you got to travel a long distance. Shiva's march, you got to travel a long distance. Sindel's march, you got to travel a long distance. Rain's one, you just have to travel a short distance before it connects. And this is a 20 frame starting move. Also, it's a side switching move as well. So you can be here or behind your opponent, right? What else does he have in his base kit? He's got a Glazer Kick. Okay, cool. Does 90 damage and it's 22 frame startup. But when amplified, it's a launcher. So you know, you get a launcher with this base kit. I want to do that. So yeah. Right, so you get a launcher with Rain's base kit is what I'm saying. This is his launcher, base kit. Cost a bar, but that's fine. You also get a restand as well. this is Rain's restand, which your hit advantage is 0. So this is like a great way to just reset neutral, basically, because from this point you could do so much things, like so much stuff you can do from that point when you reset neutral. Okay, that's his restand. So he's got, so what has he got? He's got a good projectile that's a mid, he's got a projectile that's a high, he's got a launcher, he's got a armor break, and he has what else? Restand. And then the last move he has is this, which is basically Jade's Glow, but better, because you can actually, nothing can touch him, right? Nothing can touch him. This is all base, so all of that is as good as Mileena's kit with abilities. Mileena's kit with abilities is she gets, for her to have a restand, you have to have an ability for it, which is this. This is her restand, right? This is her restand, which costs a bar, whereas Rain's one doesn't cost a bar, but he's 0. He's 0, so it's just a reset in neutral, whereas this is plus 20. So you get an advantage, right? Then she has a launcher which costs a bar, right? This costs a bar to launch. She's got high-low projectiles, which is good. That's the one good thing about her kit. That is good. And then she's got teleport, which is a side switching move, and that's it. That's actually it. Now, could you imagine what Mileena's kit is like without these abilities? Without these abilities, her kit does not compare. Doesn't even come close to how good Rain's kit is with no abilities. Look, there's no abilities on this kit. This is Rain's kit. Look at that. This is Rain's kit, no abilities. No abilities. Mileena's, this is Mileena's with abilities. With abilities. This is Mileena's. So that's the point I'm making with that, in regards to that Mileena's, her base kit is just uncomparable. So let me reply back to Tito, that one guy's comment, because he made some interesting points in regards to Mileena's buffs that he thinks should be included, right? And there were some that I disagreed with, but there were some that I agreed with. So let's get into it. So he says in a comment, okay, so she needs more combo strings without using her ball roll. Okay, so she just basically needs more moves to her moveset, such as like playtime extension, in a sense. Just more moves, so I agree with that. He says NRS should make forward 2-3 combo without the crushing blow, and let the extension 1+3 choose what direction you throw them. That's an interesting point. I never thought of this in a sense of you should be able to switch what side you put them in. It's very, I think this it would be good if you could choose the side you could put them in, but it's not the end of the world that you can't, because if you're facing this direction, you know full well it's a side switcher. It's going to switch them to the opposite side. But if they was to include that, I'll be fine with it. It's like, okay. But I guess the reason they didn't include that is because technically this is a side switcher. Now I'm on the other side. This move is a side switcher. I'm on the other side. Teleport, when you enhance it, is a side switcher. You can pick either side. This is a side switcher. Now you're on the other side. So to make this another side switching move, where you can choose which side, I don't really. It's not very necessary, but if they was to add it, then that would be cool. The next thing you said was they also need to fix her back 112 and back 114 because they are useless. Back 114 is an all mid string. I didn't really understand what you mean by it being useless, because if Mileena is doing back 112, which is a high, all an opponent has to do is duck that high. They just have to duck the high, and then you're in trouble. So to alleviate and stop them from doing that, you do back 114, and that is basically resetting neutral pretty much. Back 112, back one. Oh, another thing would be that. So essentially, all an opponent has to do is duck to avoid the projectile and block the low projectile, or they can duck to avoid the high. To stop all of that, you do back 114. So I don't agree that this is useless, because you need it, or else you'll always have to spend a bar to be somewhat safe. But you say that a way to fix that is to let her telekick combo off her back 112 and make the final hit of back 114 and overhead. So you're saying back 112 telekick off of back 112. Oh, I see what you're saying. So you're saying whilst they're in the air, you should be able to teleport into them. I totally agree. Do you know what? I'll go as far as this. Based on all the comments and the consensus of what a lot of people are saying in regards to Mileena, personally, I feel like if you could just merely combo off of teleport and back 1-1 hitbox was fixed, that would improve Mileena as a character tenfold. Just those two things alone would improve her so much. Like if this was a launcher in some way, that would be dope. So to be able to teleport and combo into that would be awesome. So I agree with that. Make back 114 an overhead. I'm a bit iffy on making this an overhead, before an overhead, because if NRS was to do it, then I'll be welcomed to it. I wouldn't mind. It'll be like, okay, cool. But the thing with NRS, if you notice, is if they give us something, they will take something away, right? If you accept something, they take something away. So you can't give without some kind of deduction. Therefore, for example, so we're minus 14, right? I guarantee you, if they was to do that and make this an overhead, do you know what they'll do? They'll make this overhead minus. They'll make the overhead minus 17 on block, something like that. I guess either way, you're minus anyway, but they'll make it so minus that you are going to be punished heavily. But then at the same time, what will happen is this in game. This is what will happen in game if it was an overhead. So I'm Rain, right? And I'm up against a Mileena, and Mileena's back 114 is now an overhead. This is what will happen. So let's just say we do back 1-1 that, that, which is our overhead, let's just say, and that, and then the alternative would be that, for example, right? So let's just say you got those are the 4 options, and the second option is the overhead. So let's just say that's the overhead, right? Do you know what someone would have to do, knowing that that's the overhead? This is what they'll do. Knowing that it's an overhead, this is what will happen. Now this is on random hidden select. So we get 60 damage, right? This is all we'll ever get if that turned into an overhead. We'll only ever get 60 damage. That's all we'll ever get if they turn that into an overhead. Do you know why? Because the back 114 being a mid makes it so that I now do this, right? Because it's a mid, I'm just gonna do this. Because it's a mid. Now, because if they was to change it to an overhead, I won't need to do this. I've got to protect myself from the overhead, so I'll just be blocking everything except for that low side that's amplified, which is only 60 damage. Okay, you hit me for 60 damage, I don't care. It's only 60. But because this is a mid, it makes the mind game better, because now I've got to guess. I got to guess when that high's coming. If I guess wrong, I get hit for that mid. I get hit with a mid, and if I get hit with that mid, hit with the mid, I'm plus 33. I am plus 33. If I get hit by that mid, Mileena is plus 33. If they make that an overhead, we won't have that. We won't have that plus 33, because no one would ever. There'll be no reason for anyone to duck block this string. There'll be no reason to duck block this. It's the overhead. We have to stand block now. The reason we duck block is to try and catch you out from doing from doing the overhead. So not the overhead, the high, that. From doing that. The only way that happens is because this is a mid. Because that is a mid. That's why people do that. So I do disagree that making it an overhead would be a good option. The next thing, from a gameplay perspective, it sounds good, but in practicality I don't think it would be good, because of what I just showcased. The next thing is she should combo off is forward 1-2 into her air side, because it doesn't make sense that she jumps in the air but can't use her air size. Another thing they should give her is more range and damage on her back 2. So basically this move, and I agree. Yeah, she should. I think a lot of people, 90% of people, are saying that she should be able to combo from this, including myself. So yeah, I definitely agree. And it'll just look very cool as well when you can combo off it, and it'll give this more relevance as well. You're saying back 2 should have more range and damage. I disagree with that, because look at the range this has already. I don't see how you can not be pleased with that. Look at that range. Start of the match, bang. How much more range do you want? Do you want it to hit from back here? Then it will be broke. Getting it from here will be broke. Here it will be broke. This is perfect range. It's got good, perfect range. And making it do more damage I mean, what's wrong with the damage now? This is what I'm saying. We've got to be fair here. Like, look, it does 70 damage. There's nothing wrong with that damage. 70 damage from her overhead. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, you don't really get much Oki, but then at the same time, you have 32 hit advantage, and let's not forget, on block, you are -5. So going back to what I said with NRS, if they give you something, they'll take something away. If they was to ever increase the damage or the range of this move, which it doesn't need, they will make this -10 on block. There's nothing wrong with this. I just think keep this how it is, but just make it a launcher. If they want to take something away, then reduce the damage by 50. I would be perfectly fine if they was to reduce the damage of this, so that instead of it doing 70, it does 50, but it launches, because that can produce damage, because you could just go into this afterwards. Okay, so the next thing you touched on was about her special moves. So Carnum Dash. Carnum Dash should cancel a lot quicker and do at least 20% for both bars of meter spent, and have a crushing blow. I feel like you're asking for too much there, and I'm a Mileena main saying this, but you're asking for too much. I mean, yes, that would be a dream case scenario if they ever did that, and if that was to be a case, but I think that's just too much of a buff. Because you're saying it should cancel quicker. Okay. You're saying it should be you should be able to cancel out of this quicker. My question to that is why? Because this you can cancel out of this very fast. I feel like -16, but you can cancel out of this so that you're -15. The point is, no one's gonna react to -15 if you're doing all kinds of stuff like. Let me take the block off. If you're doing all kinds of stuff like this, right? At what point are you ever gonna react to that? A -7, -10, -2, -3, -7, -8, -9, -8. You're not going to react to that. In a game, you're not going to react to that. If I'm doing stuff like this, stuff like this, stuff like this, stuff like that, even that, who on earth is going to react to this? -5. Who on earth is going to react to -5? So you're saying to make the cancel faster. How much faster do you want it to be? Like, no one's going to react to that anyway. And again, NRS will give and take. So if they made this faster, do you know what they'll do? This is what they'll do. If they made that faster, instead of this being -11 on block, it'll be -15. It'll be -15 on block. For a move that people can't humanly react to. They could react to it if they made a hard read. So it's not really reacting, it's a read. You're not reacting to that. You're not reacting to that. You're not reacting to that. You are not reacting to this. No one is reacting to that. No one. No one is reacting to that. No one. So I agree that it should have its crushing blow. This should have its crushing blow, and I feel like the crushing blow should trigger if you land these 3 times in a match. Matter of fact, if you land 2 of them, the third one is the crushing blow. That's what I believe. The third one of landing this amplified, just like Sub-Zero slide is a crushing blow, it should be the exact same thing. And then you get that 20% more damage and crushing blow damage or whatever. That's what I agree with. And then you said Stabby Scott should be a base move. I disagree. I don't think this should be a base move. If they made it a base move, awesome, but I don't think it should be, because it's very rare that NRS would make a special move, which is an ability, a base move. They've never done it. Not in MK11. They've never done it. They've never done it. They rarely touch the abilities. Once they're done, they're done. The only times they've touched on the ability was with Aaron Black and Shang Tsung. Shang Tsung, they gave him an ability called Shapeshifters, where he has all these ninjas in one ability slot. Aaron Black, they changed his acid pour, the animation of it. That's the only times they've ever really changed an ability slot in any way, shape or form. Right? No one's reacting to that, by the way. The next thing you said was side slide should be a low and amplified for an overhead. Believe it or not, I didn't know that side slide wasn't a low and an overhead. So although I agree it should be a low and an overhead, I don't think they'll do it, simply because low and overhead is very they I don't know, they don't really like. Okay, this doesn't have it. They don't really like to mess around too much with lows and overheads. What is it? Is it Twisted Sister? They don't really like messing with lows and overheads, and once again, they will take something away. So if this was a low and an overhead, because I don't disagree. I do think, okay, so it's just 2 mids. What I would say is this: don't make. I think you can't have your cake and eat it. You have to have one or the other. So you either make it a low and a mid, or an overhead and a mid. I think not to make it a low and an overhead. Well, actually, what's the frames on? It's 11 frames. 42 frames. If you amplify it. On block, what is it? Now -10. But look at that distance. Okay, if they made it a low and an overhead, what they'll do is they'll increase the startup to like 13 frame startup. I wouldn't mind that. So yeah, make it a low and overhead, 13 frame startup, or keep the frames as it is and make it a mid and an overhead. That's what I would say with that. Next point you made was low psi. Low psi is fine, but crushing blow should stun the opponent enough for her telekick. Now, if you get this crushing blow with psi slide, you can telekick. Low psi, if you get the crushing blow with it, you can't telekick. I think the reason for that is because if you want to do that, you need psi slide. If you want to combo into this, you need psi slide, and I think that's why they did it. If you want the extra stun to do your telekick, use the psi slide. If not, then you got low psi. So yeah, and again, if they did that, they'll take something away, so they'll reduce the damage of it. So no, I disagree with that. if anything, make it so that you can get another sign or something, or yeah, but I disagree with that point. The next point you made was Telekick should start combos when amplified. Oh yeah, I touched on that. I 100% agree with that. That is something I would love, because that making this her combo starter along with this would be amazing. This alone would change her whole game plan, her whole game style. Like that will be such a huge difference and a benefit. Airside, make it combo off of 421. Okay, we said that. Yep, I agree. That should combo off of this. And the last point you made was Vanish. Vanish should last longer and no damage reduction. What is the one for Vanish? I think it's Savage Instinct. Now, I've been as I was reading the comment, I was actually thinking how to fix Vanish. I was actually thinking about this, how to actually fix Vanish. How to fix Vanish, right? Because making it last longer and you receive no damage, what's the I mean, then therefore this will just be a pure gimmick move, because why waste an ability slot to do this? Well, like it just where's the benefit? There is no benefit to it. So I don't think we should do that with Vanish. And what I said about Vanish before, I don't think we should do it either, which is if you go into Vanish and you block, you still remain in Vanish. I don't think anything should happen. This is what I think should truly happen with Vanish. I think that if you go into Vanish, if you go into Vanish, you get a damage buff, so you do 0.20 more damage. But because of that, you take more damage. So you get a damage buff. You get a damage buff, but you take more damage. I think that would be a good fix. A good fix for Vanish. But also, if you have Vanish and Stabby Scott's command grab equipped, it triggers the crushing blow. So if you go into Vanish and then you do the command grab, the command grab, yes, Melina, the command grab should trigger instantly. But now that I just done that grab, do you know what else should trigger instantly? If you go into Vanish and you grab, this should trigger the crushing blow. Melina's throw crushing blow should trigger. So the throw crushing blow and the what's it called? The command grab Stabby Scott's crushing blows should both trigger if you are in Vanish. So not only do you get a damage buff, you get them crushing blows with it, but your opponent, if your opponent hits you, an actual hit, you receive more damage. So that's the giveaway. I think that would be absolutely perfect for Mileena if she had this, because you know what would happen? People would then have to decide how they want to really choose their abilities with Mileena in the ability slots. It will then therefore make Mileena's ability slots all have a purpose. So if you wanted to do an all-purpose zoning and anti-zoning Mileena, right? What you would do is you would have maybe air teledrop, side slide, and soaring side, right? Take away air teledrop. This would be your zoning Mileena, because again, if you have the Vanish on, you get a damage buff of 0.25. Let's just say 0.25 damage buff. So if you're hitting people with the side slide, you're getting 0.25 more damage than if you're not in Vanish. If you're hitting people with your normal size on the ground, you're getting 0.25 more. You get them in the air, you're getting more damage. And Vanish, you get to the 2 crushing blows. If you grab them, which will make it a mind game, because if you're in Vanish, your opponent will probably most likely duck block. Sorry, your opponent will most likely duck in fear of the grab, because they already know that Mileena's been buffed. If she's in Vanish and she grabs you, she's getting a crushing blow instantly. She doesn't have to wait 10 seconds. So there's that. This will be like a zoning what do you call it? This will be a zoning Mileena, or if not side slide, low side for zoning, and then you get the crushing blow with this, or even with this, and the 0.25 more damage if you're in Vanish. The other thing with Vanish would be, like I said, if you command grab them, you get the crushing blow instantly because you're in Vanish, and it does 0.25 more damage as well. So let's just say, I think off the top of my head, Stabby Scotch crushing blow does 32 damage. So therefore, if you do it with Vanish, you do 34 damage, plus it's instant. Like, you don't have to catch them on a roll or armor break. And then, I don't know, you can equip anything else. You can equip Carnum Dash if you want, Rolling Thunder, which has a damage buff already, but with Vanish and Rolling Thunder you get 0.45 damage. So Vanish will now be a certified ability that you would have to think about incorporating into your game plan. You can either do playtime, if you don't mind having Stabby Scotch off, and you'll have the normal throw KB, which will activate instantly if you're in Vanish. You don't have to wait 10 seconds. You do that, and you have playtime, and you have you can have anything. You can have air tele drop because you're vanished anyway, or you can have Carnum Dash. I mean, this will be a really good fix for Vanish. So that's my thoughts on that, and yeah, that's my reply back to Tito, that one guy. So shout outs to you. And yeah, I should have a couple more videos up today. I will be live on Twitch later on today. I'm gonna be playing Days Gone. I'm gonna start that, and I'm gonna react to the new gameplay of Resident Evil Village. So check that out when I upload it today, and I'll catch you all in the next video or over on Twitch. So follow me on Twitch if you're not already. Peace out.